Hi, my name is Quincy Kanayo Koje, and you are welcome to our very first lesson on pattern drafting for professionals. Yay! Finally, right? I'm so glad that you could join me. If you are here, it means you want to either learn or improve your pattern drafting skills. And luckily for you, we have so much to learn. Wow, so much. Anyway, okay, so this course is actually going to run for about 3 months. Yeah, but the first month you're gonna get it for absolutely free. Yeah, so you're not gonna pay a couple, not even a dime, nothing. Absolutely, all you just need is data on your phone to download the lessons you are going to learn. So we are basically going to be learning a lot in the first month. Nevertheless, I would encourage you to pay for the rest part of the course because you know it's a process, right? We'll go from what they call the unknown to the known, right? So I would encourage you to make sure you make your payments within 30 days, within the 30 days trial. After the 30 days trial, you have to pay for the rest of the course. So if you want to learn more, you want to grow more, make sure you pay for it. Now the cost is 10,000 naira now, but the twist is that if you pay within the 30 days trial, you get a 20% discount. So rather than paying 10,000 naira, you pay 8,000 naira. See? But after that 30 days trial, the price goes back to 10,000 naira. And that's why I'm encouraging you to pay now. As you're hearing my voice, start making the payment now. The payment information and all the details you need will be below this video. Alright, so as you already know, this lesson is sponsored by the Q Effect, which is a bespoke fashion designing platform as well as online training platform. So I've been doing this for a very long time. For those who know me, you know in fact I'm an old woman. Something they call a day in Benin in this profession. So I've been teaching online for quite a while. So I do this like every day. This is like my occupation. So make sure that you do not miss the opportunity to be a part of the rest of the course. And the other courses you can also be a part of, I also teach computer pattern drafting. This is where I teach you how to use computer softwares to actually draft digital patterns, electronic patterns that you can send on your online shop, patterns that you can send to your friends, test out on your own fabric. Basically, not just all those, it's not those patterns that you download from all those free blog sites, or what they call it, what do you call it, free patterns. No, these are professional patterns that teach you how to create professional patterns, ones that can be compared to Buddha style, Butterick, Vogue, all those professional electronic patterns. I can send you a template so that or I can send you a picture of my patterns so that you can have an idea. These patterns also include sewing instructions, so I can teach you how to create sewing instructions for your electronic patterns. So trust me, it is a detailed online course. So you get to learn how to use either Adobe Illustrator to draft out your electronic patterns, or free all this open source software like um, Valentina and Simply 2D. So I can teach you how to use any of the softwares to create your electronic patterns. Okay, so I also teach fashion illustrations, so I can teach you how to draw out your own styles and designs either using your mobile phone or your computer. Now I have the computer softwares free of charge. You can download them and install them on your phone, and then we use apps like Sketchbook, show you how to use apps like Sketchbook on your mobile phone, basically any Android phone. So it doesn't have to be an iPhone. I can teach you how to use your Android phone to draw and sketch out your designs. Okay, I also teach other courses like sewing and contouring, and basically I do a lot of stuff basically. So you just need to contact me using the phone number below the screen and I'll hook you up. We're here to talk about pattern drafting, right? Okay, the first thing we're going to be looking at, we're going to be introducing it, easing you into this course or the subject, especially for those who have never heard of pattern drafting before. So I'm going to be introducing it and, answering some questions that might be in your mind. And the first is, what is pattern drafting? Now, pattern drafting is the act of creating templates, clothing templates for your fashion designs and styles. Now, the whole point of it is to ensure that you are able to test out these ideas and these styles and these designs before you cut them out on your actual fabric, aka material. Okay, I'll repeat again for those who are just hearing it. Pattern drafting can be defined as the act of creating clothing designs, okay, with the effort of testing out these ideas and designs of styles before you actually cut them out from your fabric. Okay, so it ensures that you are able to test out the ideas that you have. So let's say I have the idea of an asymmetric dress and I don't know how it will look on a particular type of fabric, or I want to include a person like a block, a color block somewhere, so I don't have any idea of how it's going to look like. So I'll test out this design on my fabric, on a square fabric or a piece of paper, and then see how it will look out at the end of the day. If I'm satisfied with the result, I can then go on to use this template on my actual fabric. How do we understand now? Great. So the next question we have on the board is, what is the difference between freehand cutting and pattern drafting? And the next question is, which is better? Now we'll come to the which is better part later. Now let's check out what the difference between freehand cutting and pattern drafting. Now the first question, of course, we want to ask is, what the hell is freehand cutting? Some people don't know that it's called freehand cutting. I think there was a time that I put up a post when I was teaching freehand cutting, that I'm teaching freehand cutting. Some people thought I was teaching free cutting, so they started contacting me. I want to learn your course. She is free. So it occurred to me that a lot of people don't know what freehand cutting is. Now, freehand cutting is a cutting technique or a cutting method that allows you to cut out your styles, your ideas, your designs directly on your fabric. So unlike the pattern drafting where you create a template, okay, in order to test, for freehand cutting, there is no testing process. You just cut directly on your fabric. So this particular type of cutting technique ensures that you carry out like a speedy sewing process. So you don't need to start brainstorming, you don't need to start calculating, pattern drafting. My dear, the way we are doing pattern drafting is as if we are jacking it. So we don't need to do all of that with freehand cutting. You just carry your material, place it on your table, carry your measuring tape, measure the person's measurement, cut it out, and then sew straight, simple, fast, no wasting of time. But pattern drafting, you have to go through like a calculative process. You have to be thorough, you have to be calculative, you have to be sure of what you're doing, and then you have, before you will not test it, let's say it didn't come out well, you now have to readjust your pattern again until it fits well before you now place it on your actual fabric and then cut it out. So you can see a pattern drafting involves quite a lot of process, but the freehand doesn't include a lot of process. Now, the freehand cutting, let's assume you make a mistake. Let's assume your initial thought was to put peplum like this, but you're now cutting it, you now forgot. Oh my god, where do you now start? This is what we call imbecile, especially if it is a customer's clothes. There was a time I gave a tailor one time like that. I couldn't sew because I was away from home. I gave tailor my fabric, and I think I gave her about 4 yards of fabric to sew like what would be like a 3 yards style, and I was expecting her to come with the leftover fabric so I can use it for a tie. I don't see fabric one. According to her, the material no rich. What that means is that some people, when they use freehand cutting, they do not know how to manage fabric. Because once you make a mistake, it is hard to undo it because you have already cut directly on the fabric. But pattern drafting affords you the opportunity of using a scrap fabric, testing it out before you actually move to your fabric. So you are thorough when it comes to pattern drafting. But for freehand cutting, once you make a mistake, my brother, you have to use more fabric. There's no choice. So that's why freehand cutting has its limitations. That is precisely where it has its limitations. All right, so I will usually encourage more experienced sewers or fashion designers to employ this method of cutting before not beginners, because as a beginner you're just going to be wasting fabric because, well, you don't really know what you're doing. I hope you understand. So, freehand cutting is usually recommended for experienced sewers, while pattern drafting, both beginners and experienced sewers employ that particular technique. So, these are the differences. I think there are a lot more differences. And if you go to my Telegram channel, I think I've put up something like this before, and you can check it out and decide for yourself. Now, about the second part of the question, which is better. To be honest with you, to be candid with you, as a fashion designer, you are supposed to know how to employ these two methods of fashion designing. So if you are only good at pattern drafting, please ensure that you sign up for my freehand cutting class, where I teach you how to cut directly on the fabric without wasting them. Now, the reason a lot of people do not subscribe to freehand cutting is because they do not know how to employ it without wasting fabric. But there are techniques and ways you can go about it, which I will teach you in the freehand cutting class. So make sure you send me a message below, and then I'll hook you through the freehand cutting class. I'm going to take you through the process of how to cut directly on the fabric, even corsets. This corsets that people they don't really know how to go about it without wasting fabric. I can show you how to do all that without wasting fabric. There are a little bit of technicalities involved in corset making, so some people run away from it. If they don't know how to do the pattern, they cannot sew the clothes. But I can show you how you can employ freehand cutting in sewing corsets by just following the techniques that I can teach you. Alright, so like I said, as a fashion designer, you should know both. The reasons are because it depends on the kind of fashion designing business you intend to venture in. If your intention is to go into bespoke fashion design business where your requests or orders from customers are based on quick delivery, like the earlier your customers bring the clothes, the quicker you can do it, and then you have bulk requests, so you're taking on request upon request upon request. My brother, my sister, which time are you going to now sew the clothes if you are doing pattern drafting? If it will require those kind of styles that your customers will come and one hand will go like this, one hand will go like this, it will be accordion, or it will be puff puff, or it will be where are you now going to finish the cloth if you keep employing pattern drafting? So, if you spend your whole day designing, creating, in fact, let me even ask this question: is it every customer you walk into your shop that you would create patterns for? Of course, you can't always create patterns for your customers when they walk through the door and want you to sew something for them. You have to know freehand cutting a bit, and you have to also know pattern drafting so that you can employ it in situations where you need it. Now, I will tell you, I think the next question you will want to ask me is, what are the situations that require you to employ pattern drafting, and what are the situations that require you to employ freehand cutting? Okay, now, personally, if you do not know the style, if you have never attempted the style before, if you have never seen this style in your entire life, or this particular style involves the combination of one style, another style, there are some customers that will come and say, Madam, I want this neckline, but I don't like the way this hand is looking. Use this other hand in this other style. And then the flare, I don't like the flare, the way it's looking. I bet that flare as in that woman's, that particular style over there. Please, you have different styles together. If you have never done such a design before, that is when I will encourage you to use pattern drafting. Okay, then if you are also shortage on fabric, especially if you want to manage fabric, or when your particular style involves color blocking or involves the use of other fabric textures, I will encourage you to use pattern drafting. Then thirdly, if your what other situation lies now. Okay, then if you have been making a particular style over and over and over again, by now you should have like what we call a learning curve in that particular style. You should have become like a pro. Nobody needs to tell you how to go about it. So there's no need for you to employ pattern drafting in such situation. By then you should be able to employ freehand cutting to making such designs. So these are areas I think you should use freehand cutting. Another time is when you have enough fabric to work with, and the fabric is your own, it's not your customer's own. Then you can use freehand cutting. I hope you understand. Okay, so another idea is that if you are doing like a mass production of a particular style, if the style you're trying to make is not so complicated, then you can use freehand cutting. So these are the situations I personally think you should employ when you are trying to use pattern drafting or freehand cutting. By the way, if you have any questions for me, you can always leave them below this video. That is the whole point of video. So the next question is, what are the advantages and disadvantages of pattern drafting? I think when I was talking about freehand cutting, I might have mentioned it, but I don't mind saying it again. Now, pattern drafting is time consuming. That is one of the disadvantages. But the advantage is that the time you are wasting always gives you a good result, because you get to learn more in the process of trying to get to a particular level. It's just like you're going from one bus stop to the other, and in the process you get to meet different people on the way. That's the same way the process is like with pattern drafting. The thing about it is that every pattern that you make with pattern drafting can be reused, can be readjusted, can be downgraded, can be upgraded. So these are the advantages about patterns. Okay, so as much as you're going to have papers that you need, you are going to be having a bunch of papers around you, these patterns, if you save them properly, you can actually upgrade them, downgrade them, readjust them, and basically do anything that you want to do with them. So let's move on to the next question. Is pattern drafting always applicable? I think I've already answered this question when I explained the bespoke fashion business. Like I said, it's not always applicable. There are cases where you would need other methods of cutting, like freehand cutting, because you cannot always draft out patterns for every customers that you have. Okay, so it's not always applicable. However, we encourage you to learn it because it can improve your fashion designing skill and can open your mind to other styles and designs. He said, does pattern drafting always give the best results? From my experience, yes. In some other cases, no. What I mean is that if you do not have the right body measurement and you are not applying your pattern drafting techniques properly, you might not end up with good results. You might end up just drafting and drafting and drafting, and then you get frustrated. So it's advisable that you know what pattern drafting is, you know how to employ the pattern drafting techniques, you know the processes that are involved before you start embarking on it, so that you don't get frustrated at the end of the day. Okay, so if you want best results, you should learn to be patient. you have to have patience as one of your virtue if you want to really learn pattern drafting, because it's not just about drafting out the patterns. You might not always get good result at the end of the day, but the beauty about pattern drafting is that you can always go back and readjust and correct your mistakes, and then get the best results. Then when it comes to contouring and fitting, I noticed that pattern drafting can help you get perfect fit if you know what you're doing. So these are the few questions I really wanted to answer during the introductory section, and I hope that in the next lesson you'll get to learn how to take body measurements for your pattern drafting project. See you then. Bye.